Hi, I'm Suzanne Silverman, Editorial Director of Commercial Property Executive, and on behalf of myself and my team, welcome. Before we begin, I'd like to thank our sponsors, including our awards provider, Christo, along with American Express, Rentley, Resource Furniture, and Yardy Systems. I also want to be sure to mention our social media hashtag CPE Awards 2024. Be sure to include it with all of your posts about today's event and your awards achievement. In addition, we'll be sending you a link to the recording after the event. And now I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker and our newest winner of the CPE Influence Award for Lifetime Achievement, Goldie Wolfe Miller. Goldie will be taking questions at the end of her speech, so if you have one for her, please enter it in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen at any time during her presentation, so we can be sure to include it. We introduced this award, determined by CPE's editorial team, as a means of honoring and recognizing those who, during the course of their careers, have given of themselves, making significant contributions to the commercial real estate industry to reshape it, strengthening it, and take it into the future. Goldie joins inaugural Lifetime Achievement Hall of Fame member Jeff DeBoer. Goldie is well known in the commercial real estate market, both due to her personal accomplishments as a successful brokerage firm owner, and philanthropist, and as the founder of the Goldie B. Wolfe Miller Women Leaders in Real Estate Initiative, better known as the Goldie Initiative. Over the past 50 years, Goldie transacted an impressive $4 billion in deals, representing Arthur Rubloff and Company, before launching her own tenant representation firm, Goldie B. Wolfe and Company, which grew to 20 members, becoming the nation's largest women-owned commercial real estate firm before selling it to Insignia ESG in 1998. She later became president of Millbrook Corporate Real Estate Services with a focus on office and industrial properties. Ever the visionary, in 2007, Goldie drew on her own experience to launch the Goldie Initiative with a mission of preparing women for senior leadership roles in commercial real estate. Launched at Roosevelt University in Chicago, it has since touched some 30 campuses nationally, including many top-ranked universities. Each class advances through a 2-year program that includes scholarships for graduate study, along with mentorship and networking opportunities. To date, more than 200 women have gone through the program, having been identified for their potential and commitment to become industry leaders. Given these accomplishments, it's no surprise Goldie Wolfe Miller has already been well recognized by the industry. Goldie, we are proud to add to that the CPE Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you. I'm very honored, and I thank Suzanne, and I thank her team, and I thank the organization CPE. Suzanne and I go back, I think we figured out 30 years, way back when. I have to say that it's been a pleasure to reconnect. But I did ask her a question when she called me, and I talked about this honor. I said, you know, a Lifetime Achievement Award is very special. But I've always thought it went to people who have died, you know. And so I have to tell you that yes, I'm very appreciative, but I'm alive and well, and hopefully will give a lot more to the community. I also want to thank all the wonderful winners of this group that have come after me. And it's even after 50 years, it's really terrific to be recognized. And so congratulations to the other winners. And even though I asked Suzanne, what should I talk about? You know, 50 years is a long time. I promised to make this short. And basically, I've been asked to talk about how I got to where I am, why, and maybe what's important to me, and of course, talk about the Goldie Initiative. And I'm delighted that some questions can come at the end. I wish I can tell you that I had a great vision. That 50 years ago, I said I was going to do X, Y, and Z, but that's not exactly, quite frankly, how it started. When I finished college, I absolutely had no clue of what I wanted to do. And some marketing professor was nice enough to say, you know, why don't you go into something like advertising? And in advertising, he said, you know, you could be account exec, you can media, you could be creative. So that's what I did. and I started with a company called J. Walter Thompson. And believe it or not, in advertising, and I'm really proud of this in terms of lessons learned, I learned how to sell. And the concept was really quite simple. If a commercial, which is 60 to 90 seconds or 30 seconds, whatever it is, can sell a product, and the words they used were something like AIDA, AIDA, attention, interest, desire, and action. If I could do that in a commercial, what if I had 10 minutes? What if I had 15 minutes? And what if I had an hour? So the advertising really was very helpful to me. But then every time I got promoted, I basically didn't get a salary increase. I basically got a bigger waste paper basket. The size of the waste paper basket kept on growing and growing. And then someone said to me, well, if you're not happy with beautiful views, which I had in my office, why don't you go into something like sales? And and this is, again, which was really critical, and I've repeated this so many times over the years, where your remuneration is equal to your input. What a surprise. Harder you work, longer hours you put in, success, it's measurable, which is a measurable effort. So that's what I did, but I didn't know what to sell. You know, that's what's so amazing in terms of the real estate industry. You think that people know ahead of time. Someone told me, again, someone that I valued in terms of, actually was a client of mine, said, you know what, if you're going to sell and you're going to be successful, sell bridges instead of widgets. So it sounds corny. A lot of this is, going back 50 years and I'm trying to remember, but they were right. It takes as much effort to give a presentation on widgets as it is probably to sell the Brooklyn Bridge. Anyway, so with those two thoughts, I started a company called Rubloff, and Rubloff was the largest real estate company at least in the Midwest, and I was able to learn, again, not knowing what area, everything about real estate. And it was kind of interesting in terms of with Rubloff, and I was their top producer for I think 7 or 8 years. It was really important to me that I wasn't their top woman producer. I was their top national producer who just happened to be a woman. And I make that distinction because it's a very critical element in terms of at least the measure of success, but because it wasn't based on any kind of criteria ahead of time, just production, year-end results, which I think in real estate we look at all the time. So 20 years after I started, the company decided they didn't like brokerage business and they wanted to go into development. And if I had to tell you which year they decided to go into development, it's probably close to the year that interest rates went to 21%. Now, some of you don't remember it went to 21%, but I certainly do. And so they really want to get rid of the brokerage business. And this is where opportunity or just luck. And I said, you know what? I wanted to start my own company. I wanted to call it Goldie Wolfe and Company. And I guess the reason I wanted to do that is that I didn't want to be 80 years old and say, I wish I would have, could have. I wish I would have, could have. Did I want to take that risk? And it's easy to say risk is not easy. You know, it's always takes a lot of deep breaths. And I said, I can always bag groceries. That was my attitude at the time. I want to try and have my own company. And so therefore, I started Goldie Wolfe and Company. And it was a great ride. And I didn't realize you could sell a company, and 2 major companies came after the organization, and we sold to CB Richard Ellis. But it was interesting in terms of during that time frame, it was a great learning experience for me, because one of the things I learned in terms of how to pre-lease buildings, in the marketplace, people would do spec buildings, and not like today. They would do a spec building and then find the tenants. I worked with the Gerald Hines organization, and the concept of pre-leasing, we were able to lease 1.6 million square foot ahead of time without a shovel in ground, which is really, in those days, was quite exceptional. I worked for companies like Xerox, which with Xerox, we were their national account group for 40 states. Wonderful organization. So when I sold, I sat with my husband, Jack Miller, And he said, if you want to do something and give back, which I really was important to me, to stay in the community and stay in the marketplace and stay in the real estate industry that I love, what area would you like to give back in? And that was an easy decision for me. I wanted to give back in real estate somehow. And I wanted to give back in terms of the community, women. I wanted, and I say this with great deal of respect, when I started, there were very few women, if any, in commercial real estate. And I said, I was president of my own company. I want to train women to be presidents of their own company, be CEOs of their own company. And so I wanted to give back, so I decided it was real estate, it was women. And I started with Roosevelt University because that's where I went to school, and that's where they gave me scholarships, and that's where they helped me, and that's where they gave me jobs. But then the initiative started growing. Again, I wish I could tell you I had this great vision of what this was going to be, but other young people, other young women wanted to get into the program. And so we basically expanded it. We took it out of Roosevelt, formed our own 501c3. And that was in 2017. And the rest, they say, is history. I think Suzanne was nice enough to say we're on, I think there's 30 campuses. We've graduated 200 women. This year, we've gone to the East Coast in terms of going. We've basically been headquartered in the Midwest with schools like Northwestern, University of Chicago, DePaul, Michigan, Wisconsin. Now we're at Harvard, Yale, MIT, and we're growing and developing. I'm sorry, we're on 20 campuses. And it's just exciting. This year, we've got the largest number of scholars, and they call themselves Goldie Scholars, which is, this was their idea. It wasn't my idea, but it's fun to see their growth. And I think one of the things that we're looking at is, and I think is very critical, it's not just the scholarship money that they're looking at, even though we provide it. They look at the mentorship. They each have individual mentors, and the leadership training, the mentorship, and all of the other sidebars that we provide. These young scholars really enjoy almost as much as, if not more, than the dollars that we provide. The board, which is a very active board, and I welcome you to look under the Goldie Initiative, because again, it's the people that have worked on it, the volunteers we have. The board came back and said, we should have a Goldie Gala. Of course, I said no, because who wants to go to another gala or another event where you're sitting and having a pretty bad chicken dinner with someone on the right and the left you don't want to talk to? So I said we could do a gala. And again, it was a fundraiser more than anything else, but we have to have it so it's almost like a networking event. What does that mean? Networking on steroids. So after, I guess it's 6 or 7 years now, we've had Shiro Awards. This year we have fabulous Shiro, Kim Adams from Clarion Partners. We raise almost $1.2 million a year. And it's one of the major events of the season. We got 700 to 800 people to show up. It's fun, but we honor the scholars. They get to network. They get to actually meet some of the potential people that they're going to be employed with. I am told it's the largest program of its kind in the country. So, the question is, why do I do this? There's so many good reasons. And I guess one of the highlights is I have a program that talks about talking to these scholars called Wednesdays with Goldie. I have an opportunity of personally talking to all these 200 spectacular young women. It's a given that they're the best and the brightest because we have them through their application process. They get great grades. They have letters of recommendation. You get to do interviews. But in talking to them, to see in some of their challenges of them that they've gone through is just spectacular in terms of trying to make a difference. And I think that's an important line that I urge anyone who's involved in this arena. We can make a difference in terms of the industry that we have so much pride in, and has provided so much for us. All the winners that come after me that you're going to announce, they're accomplished. They're accomplished in terms of what arena they're in, but more importantly, it's the ability to give back. I'll give you two short examples. So one of the gals I interviewed was a West Point graduate from University of Michigan. She did 2 tours of duty of Afghanistan. And now she's at Michigan and she was married with 2 kids. And listening to her, it's almost like I was grateful for not only her service, but she wanted to go into this industry. And I was just delighted to be able to help her. University of Chicago graduate who basically has a full-time job in building apartment buildings on her own. I can tell you when I first started, there were no female developers, but she's doing this on her own time, and it's something that's really special. One young woman decided that she wanted to rebuild Detroit. Multiply these stories over 200 young women of making a difference that we can do. And so when you say, why do I do it and what I've done, it is so rewarding and it's so exciting to see the enthusiasm, to see their drive. It's really, I guess that's the reason why I do this. The other thing that I think you all asked, or I think Suzanne highlighted, where is the industry going? I have no clue. My crystal ball is probably not as good as anybody else's, but I can remember in days of old, and we didn't have computers, of course. I remember in days of old that the way I would call on clients is the old-fashioned Rolodex. If you're too young and don't know what Rolodex is, check it out. It is certainly more competitive today. It's faster. It's still, some of I feel like you have to be smarter. But the industry has cycles, like any industry. And as I said before, in my first development, interest rates went to 21. So interest rates do go up, interest rates do go down. And I think the real element in terms of where's the industry going, I think it's just an understanding of to be flexible, because if industry is going to change. In my area of the office market, it's been very difficult, in all honesty, these last few years for lots of reasons, because of COVID, because interest rates, because of hybrid. I am one, and I raise my hand with great pride, delighted that people are coming back to the office. I've talked to scholars over the last, I'd say even before COVID, and the biggest concern they had, these young people who didn't go to the office, they're missing the culture. They're not getting the culture. They don't have the creativity, and they certainly don't have the camaraderie. And so they feel, this Zoom is great, right? And I think I was telling Suzanne, I always get nervous in front of a Zoom because I like seeing people in front of me in terms of this is what I'm used to. But I think coming back to the office and getting that interchange is going to be really, really exciting. I think your area and your organization is very involved in affordable housing. That's been a big issue. It's very positive. Industrial has been positive. I think, as I said before, I think the office market will come back, but of course, where, I have no idea. It's going to be, my guess is in some of the top drawer buildings. I am personally distraught when I see so many for lease signs in the retail arena, on retail streets and retail vertical and horizontal shopping centers. And I may be the only one I know who gets excited when I see cranes building, new buildings, new development. I think that's exciting for me to see all these, at least we're in Florida. And if you look at the Palm Beach area, people moved down here during COVID and they're moving down now. So seeing these cranes. So, if I had to look for, words of wisdom, which I guess is almost boring. I think I wrote it down somewhere. It hasn't changed my words of wisdom over 50-year period of time. Work hard, be persistent, and keep working hard. It's the same words I used in terms of 35, 40 years ago when I was hiring all the people for Rubloff. I see it now in terms of these fabulous young women. So that's really, and this ability to be flexible. I called it the, what did I call it? I remember because we had to change hats. I think we called it the AC/DC theory. What does that mean? So at one point in time, we were able to lease for tenants. When the market shifted, we leased for landlords. So this ability to be flexible, this ability to know that it's going to be changed, to understand what goes up is going to come down, and the hard work the determination. There's three part: hard work, determination, persistence. That's I guess those are the three words that kept me going over a 50-year period of time. Again, I'm really delighted, appreciative of the honor. It's a lifetime work, and I think I've been lucky that I found an industry that was, and I guess that's the other thing I say, talk to these young scholars. It's never been a job. It's never been a job. It's been a lifetime of experiences with wonderful people that I've worked with. And I guess it's been a great ride. So thank you for this honor and this privilege. And we welcome any questions in terms of I have answers. Maybe you may not like the answers, but I'm happy to do that.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Goldie, for your valuable insights. It's really been great to listen to. And as you mentioned, I've known you for a very long time, and I've always been very impressed with your drive and your determination and your subsequent success. We do have some questions from the audience, and if anybody has any others, this is the time to put them in if you haven't already. The first one that I would like to ask is just looking back in your career, what have been a couple of the most memorable challenges of your career, and what were your takeaways?
Well, I think I mentioned one which is challenging, which is the one and only built to suit I ever was involved with. I had a tenant in hand, so there was no worry about who was going to fill the building. And it was going to be a built to suit. It was going to be a built to suit, an industrial built to suit for a 6-month period of time. And I had a partner who had done this before, and I never did it. And I said, sure, I can do it. I represent all these tenants. Development's easy. It's not a problem. And then my partner says, and of course, it's $2.25 million project. And it says, of course, you have to sign personally. My lawyer says, what do you mean personally? I said, well, I think we're saving a 0.5 percentage point. And so naive and stupid that was at the time. And I just said, oh, sure, why not? So in the 6-month period of time, I'd never seen interest rates go from 13 to 21. So I was on the hook personally for a construction loan and didn't have the money to pay the interest rate. So what did I learn? I learned listen to your lawyer, number one. And I think the one thing I learned is what Sam Zell wrote in his book. I read biographies all the time. Sam Zell said, every time I look at a deal, I think that the worst thing will happen. And if I can afford the worst thing to happen, I'll go in, if I can afford it, that's a deal, I'll take the risk. It's all risk reward. So I think I learned that in terms of if I go into a deal, if it goes totally belly up, like again, for this built to suit, I'll do the Sam Zell approach. If I can afford to lose it, I'll do it. If I can't afford to lose it, I'm not going to do it. So that's but I did learn something else that I did wrong. I didn't try again. I didn't learn from the experience. And I never did a development deal since that time. So I could have been maybe a little gutsier, but I didn't have it in me.
Because you also have to pick what's right for you. Maybe
I like
another part of that.
Night. I like sleeping at night, and that just was awful.
And as I recall, you were also a single parent, so you had some responsibility there too.
I had lots of responsibility, and I was a single parent. Thank you for remembering. Yes, that was a very critical element because it covered lots of arenas. So it just wasn't me. When I first started in real estate, it was an easy call because I had nothing to lose. When I started my 60 interviews, I had 6 months worth of rent in the bank, 6 months worth of food in my whatever. And after the 6 months, I was done. But here, you're right. There was the risk factor, and I thought the second greatest risk I took for sure was selling my company, the Goldie Wolfe and Company. But I didn't have that much of a risk because if worst comes to worst, I said, I could always get another job. I could bag groceries. I could do something that I wanted to try this, and I was willing to take that risk.
Okay. How much progress do you feel the commercial real estate business has made in bringing women into the executive ranks? And along with that, where are the biggest opportunities for improving those efforts?
What a great question. It's all relative. When I started, there was zero. So, at 50 years in the business, it's a pretty low bar. Penny Pritzker always says to me, I was the first woman in the room and she was the second one. So I think it's done great progress, has it done to the degree that I would like? Of course not. That's why I started the Goldie Initiative. These young women are just, it's exciting to see their energy, but it's really important to recognize that they need more help, just like men used to, use mentors and whatever. So they're focused on not only, as I said before, the dollars, and I think it's getting better. It's a great recognition, but again, I emphasize these are already scholars who are graduate students, so they already know they're in real estate. I'm not trying to convince them the real estate the area, but I'm trying to help them, or we're trying. And if you look at the people on our board, and I take no credit for this, I had a thought in the board, and we have 200 volunteers, and I urge this for all the people in the audience. Get involved. It's so rewarding. The most important part that these people that are involved, and it's not all women. I'm going to tell you, we have men on our board. It's those people that really want to make a difference, and they feel the gratitude and result. So there's a lot more that has to be done, and we're working on that. And we're only one group. We're Midwest, now we're going to the East Coast. You could send money, which is this a paid political announcement. The more money we have, the more opportunities, but it's not the money, it's the mentors we need. So the volunteers, the mentors, the opportunities in terms of internships, whatever the corporation is doing, we would love to be helpful. And these young women are spectacular. So is it better than 50 years ago? Yes. Is it as good as it should be? I think we've made a great effort, and I think the industry's made a great effort. So it's still, we have a way to go, but I'm very proud of our group. I'm very proud of not only Goldie Initiative, but just the industry as a whole. They're very responsive and they're very helpful.
Right. Regarding the Goldie Initiative, professionals that are interested in getting more involved, how would you recommend that they learn more about it?
We have a website, and look under the Goldie Initiative, and I think it shows everything that you really want to know. It talks about our history, it talks about the campuses we're on, it talks about the programs. We have a group called Mentorship Rocket, where some of these scholars are just able to call you. You can give as much or as little of your time. You can get a mentee. You can. We have a leadership training program, so that for these young people, so that you can be part of that. It's as little or as much as you want. And in terms of, with even corporations, they come to us and we plan programs for them. In terms of, I guess, the getting involved is a critical part. We're all busy. We all have, whether it's jobs or other responsibilities, raising families, being involved. But making a difference is what I think this organization has done. So call the I'm not computer literate, so I don't know what the website is. But if you look under the Goldie Initiative, it tells you how to do and what you can do. And there's even a phone call to use. Our director is CEO is Megan Abraham. We have a great team. They do this full time. And they'll give you all the information that you can make an important decision. But get involved. You get so much in return, Suzanne. I guess that's why I'm doing this.
That's great. And I'm sure it would really help to for people to get involved from every aspect of the business. And are there any particular areas where that there's really a need for women to be better representative and women to be better representative at the executive levels in the industry?
Yes, every level. There's a
Yes, it
book.
was a loaded question.
Yeah, well, no, it's a good question. Oh, no, because you don't want to. Someone would say today, I don't want to go in the office market because office market is pretty awful. I think there's a few years ago it was certainly industrial, and then there was the apartment building arena. Retail maybe is questionable. Your area, I think you do a lot of housing. Apartments for rent have been doing well. There's a book out of University of California by Stan Ross that says 2,000 job opportunities in real estate. We refer that to often because it depends on your skill set. Depends on what you want to do. You're not going to go into sales if you hate people. You're not going to go into finance if you can't add. So what it does is point out that for every, which is really exciting about our industry, it takes all kinds of talent. It's in terms of a team and individuals. So look at the industry. It's I'm sure your publication is very clear on what's doing well and what's not doing well, and certainly that changes, which I got, I think, in my my comments. The flexibility. One year I remember. Megan says I should write a book. I can't remember all my stories, but one of the stories is this was a young man who says, I wanted to get into real estate, but there were no job offers. So I said, okay. And he said, so I went up to the company I wanted to work for and said, I want to work for you for free. I said, and what happened? He said, well, the headhunter said, okay. And therefore, the whole idea was that the company could see how this individual performs. And guess what? When they got the first job offer, who do you think they gave it to? The person that came. So it was a little bit of creativity, but I don't think it's one industry, or if that's what you were asking, I think it's across the board. Just quite frankly, in some industries, it's it's more favored than another. Right now, I'm told that people with finance backgrounds and accounting, there's a dearth of accountants. I don't know. This is it's cyclical. Every year, it's a different cycle. But this is where your flexibility comes in. It's a great question, Suzanne. Flexibility. If you have to go where the flow is, right, and that's what you have to investigate, and that's what we do with our young people. Give them the opportunities.
Okay, so one final question, then we can let you go and recognize our other award winners today. What's some advice that you like to give college students and other young people who are interested in a real estate career?
There's so many things I say, so I'll try and pick one, but no, I'm going to pick two. One is called the sponge and one is the pivot. So if you remember those two words, so what does a sponge mean? A sponge is just use as much of the sponge and get information before you make a decision. You don't have to make a decision. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I graduated of college. Everyone has this, if you want to be a doctor, lawyer, Indian chief, you have to maybe decide ahead of time. But be a sponge, ask questions, gather information, talk to as many people. That's why at the Gold Initiative, we have this mentorship rocket. These young scholars I think they have 90 people to call. That 90 people I may have the numbers wrong, but 90 people have said, okay, I will be part of mentorship rocket. And a scholar can call me between these certain hours. If I were doing this, I'm obsessive, I would have made all 90 phone calls. I would find out what the market's like. These people are across industries. So gather information, read publications like yours, in terms of see what the market, read your competitors, just to learn it. So be a sponge. The second part would be, and my grandchildren hate this, of course, pivot. Learn how to pivot, in terms of the job isn't exactly what you wanted. It's not traumatic. The real level of success isn't how you handle the obstacles. Real level of success is how do you handle the obstacles and pivot to make a change. So it's not, the wrong job isn't forever. The wrong husband isn't forever. I've got experience of that. It's the ability and the success is really, how do you pivot? How do you take yourself from a very difficult situation or a presentation or a client meeting or whatever it is that you've got, or a child, whatever it is that's giving you headaches or whatever. How do you pivot? So be a sponge, gather information, whatever it is, and then be able to pivot when, as I called it, the ACDC thing, change. Become a tenant rep, a building rep, and the other. If the interest rates aren't good, don't be a developer. Do something else. Unfortunately, with Rubloff, they didn't know how to pivot. They decided they wanted to be developers, and it was the worst marketplace ever because of interest rates. And unfortunately, the company did not, sustain itself. So I think those are the, one fine thing: have fun. If you don't have fun doing it, if you look at a job, it's almost go work in a factory and put your little, time thing in, go in the morning and come back, at the end. Enjoy what you're doing. The word we use at the Goldie Initiative is that, and all these women have a passion for our industry. It's exciting. The people are excited. You've been in it, what, for 30 years now, Suzanne?
Mhm.
You're
Yep,
still
somewhere in there.
smiling most of the time,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
So it's a great industry. Someone once said, in real estate, it's land, and land's not going to go away. Now, what you put on land is, agriculture or housing or office building. So it's going to be around forever. And the people are just, I think they're just very special. Organizations are special. I was on the board of ULI for a while. The networking opportunities are there. And so I think the industry has been very good to the people, and the people have been good to the industry. So it's a great industry.
Well, thank you again, Goldie, and congratulations. It's been a real pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Again, congratulations to all the other names that you're going to be calling.
And we'll be sending you your award. Try that again. On to the Influence Awards. These awards are determined by a panel of industry experts who pool a variety of knowledge and experience to evaluate submissions. This year's judges, who put a great deal of time and consideration into their decisions, include Brian Schwagirl of NYU's Schack Institute of Real Estate, Katrina Yin of JDS Development Group, Vedanth Shetty of Groundway Group, and Kim Horahan of CBRE Investment Management. We'll begin with the development category, with the judges considering each property type separately. And our first award, the Bronze Award for Best Development Mixed Use, goes to Central Station, GMH Communities. Our next award, also for mixed use, silver level, is Novus Innovation Corridor, Catalyst Development Corporation. And the gold award, excuse me, for mixed use, goes to West Falls, Hoffman and Associates. Moving on to the next category, Best Development in Office, the silver award goes to One Congress, Carr Properties. And the gold award goes to Morrison Yard Office, the Keith Corporation. In the industrial category, bronze goes to North 15 Logistics Phase 2, Clarion Partners. Silver goes to West 202 Logistics, Caprock Partners. And gold, Victory Logistics District, Mark IV Capital. We also have a data center category this year in best development, and an honorable mention there goes to True North Campus, Campus Data Centers. Certainly a growth area, so we were happy to be able to add that division. Moving on to investments, starting with single property transactions. Bronze Award goes to 125 3rd Street, Ariel Property Advisors. And a gold goes to One West Side and West Side 2, Hudson Pacific Properties. In the portfolio category, silver goes to Gateway Industrial Commons, Center Square Investment Management. And the gold goes to Sea Park Affordable Housing Portfolio, Ariel Property Advisors. In the financing category, we have a gold going to Convergence, IPA Capital Markets. And the silver award for the most effective repositioning or redevelopment plan goes to Boca Raton Innovation Campus, CP Group. And the gold in that category goes to Backlot NoHo, BKM Capital Partners, BKM Management Company. And now Executive Editor Therese Fitzgerald will continue with the next set of winners.
Sam. Okay, thank you, and congratulations to all the winners. Best design in industrial, we have a bronze going to Backlot NoHo, BKM Capital Partners, BKM Management Company. Best design for data centers, we have an honorable mention for NVA 02D, Stack Infrastructure, and Corgan. Best design in mixed use, there's a silver award for Sunset Glen Oaks Studios, Hudson Pacific Properties. Best design mixed use, the gold goes to 122 Fifth Avenue, the Bromley Companies. Best design office, the silver goes to 51W52, Harbor Group International LLC, Vocon, and MDAS Architects. Best Design Office Silver goes to Washington 1000, Hudson Pacific Properties. The unbuilt category, the gold goes to Berkeley Space Center at NASA Research Park, Moffett Properties LLC. Best amenities, the bronze goes to O Towers, Blanca Commercial Real Estate. Best amenities, silver goes to One Congress, Carr Properties. And the gold for best amenities goes to the Ferry Building, Hudson Pacific Properties. Best ESG program bronze goes to Principal Asset Management and Solar Landscape. Best ESG program silver, One Congress, Carr Properties. And the best ESG program gold goes to 555 Greenwich and 345 Hudson, Hudson Square Properties. Most effective DEI program, the silver goes to Berkadia. And the gold for most effective DEI program goes to Walker and Dunlop. Most innovative technology, the silver goes to Walker and Dunlop for a prize. The most innovative technology gold goes to Butler. Most innovative integration of technology, the silver goes to GMH Communities. And the gold for most innovative integration of technology goes to C&W Services. Okay, and now Editor-in-Chief Jessica Fior will take over the announcements.
Thanks so much, Therese. And again, I echo congratulations to all the winners. Our Broker of the Year bronze goes to Caleb Troop of Bercadia. Rising Star bronze goes to Cameron Chalfant, IPA Capital Markets. Rising Star bronze goes to Chris Forte of Walker and Dunlop. Rising Star Silver goes to Megan Verano, Center Square Investment Management. And our gold winner is Kaylee DeChico of Expansive. For our Humanitarian Award project, our gold winner goes to Build a Bureau, Dacon Corporation. And another gold, KDC Cares from KDC. Development Company of the Year Silver goes to Link Logistics. And another silver goes to WMG Development. Our Executive of the Year for the Office Silver Award winner goes to Tier Blanca, Blanca Commercial Real Estate. Another silver retail winner goes to Craig Kopko for WMG Development. And our Executive of the Year Retail Gold winner is Rob Holyuba, Center Square Investment Management. Our Best Brokerage Office Silver goes to Blanca Commercial Real Estate. And our Best Brokerage Office Gold goes to Ariel Property Advisors. We want to thank you again to all our judges. I think you did not make it easy on them, but we had some great entries and they worked really hard, and thank you. Also, thank you to our sponsors, Rentley, American Express, Christo, Resource Furniture, and Yardi. And on that note, I want to congratulate everyone again for your great submissions, and congratulations on your awards. As I've mentioned, you're going to be getting them shipped directly to you, so be on the lookout. Feel free to reach out to me at any time with any questions. And I'm also going to be sending around a digital badge for you all to use in your marketing or your social media, or wherever you'd like. And also, shameless plug for us, the awards are open for next year. Our early bird special rate is going on right now, so enter as soon as you can for our best rates of the year. And thank you, and congratulations again to all our winners.